Afternoon, Matthew. I'm joined today
Afternoon.
by Matthew Conway of NDT Group.
Nice to meet you.
Excellent. Matthew, tell us a little bit about what you do, how long you've been doing it for.
Yeah, so my name's Matthew Conway, as you said. I'm the Managing Director of NDT Group. And we're a company that offer non-destructive testing and inspection services around the UK. NDT is basically a way of evaluating and testing material or components or an asset, tanks, pipework, things like that. And we basically offer that service to our clients around the UK in two ways. So we offer it as a site service. So we'll go out to client sites around the UK, man and van with the equipment, and we'll do the inspections on site. And we also do in-house inspections where clients will send stuff through to us, and we'll inspect them down here at our headquarters as such, our unit down in Sandycroft, Factory Road, in D-side, which is just down the road from you, I think, Mark.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Aren't you? So,
yeah.
And that's what NDT is. So NDT Group, we formed in 2017. So we've been going for about 5 years now. Myself and Daniel Jones are the co-founders, both local lads, both from D-side, both went to John Summers High School, which is now been knocked down, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know what that says about the level of education that was coming out of there. But no, it's fair. It was a very good school. I'm only joking. We've gone about 5 years now, so
well done.
Seem to be doing okay. Yeah,
well done. And when we think of business success, is there any specific people who spring to mind, Matthew, that have inspired you over the years?
No, not really. It's it's a difficult question. That there's no one that sort of springs to mind. Again, it's not. So I started out in NDT just as an apprentice back in 2008. Gained my qualifications working for a local company. Then I went off and started working on my own. And I was quite happy for a number of years just working on my own as a contractor. Worked out in the North Sea on the oil rigs.
Wow.
Owning my own business was never anything that I really aspired to do. There was never anyone that I was particularly looking up to and thinking, I'd love to own my own business and be successful like them. What I would say is there's a couple of I've got a couple of friends who've got their own businesses. I've got my sister. She owns and owns her own business. I probably take quite a lot of inspiration from them rather than from anyone sort of famous or well known. Yeah. I could say Elon Musk or someone like that, but it doesn't really inspire
but it's
me.
Closer to home, really, what you from your sister and your family. That's the COVID-19, obviously, thank goodness, has been and gone. Gave challenges really to everyone in business. What sort of impact did it have on your business? Yeah,
it was massive. Obviously, so we set up in 2017. So by the time, really, the first 2 years of the business, there was only 2 or 3 of us involved. We were still, I'd probably say we still weren't taking it that seriously. We were just we still weren't sure if we wanted to give it a real good go. So in January 2019, we rebranded to NDT Group, because prior to that, we were known as NDT North East Wales. In 2019, January was probably when we thought, right, let's give it, let's really take this seriously now and try and build a business. So by the time COVID came into play, we'd only been running just over 12 months. We were just starting to find our feet within the industry. It had a massive impact. We were quite lucky, I'd say, to try and manage our way through that. Obviously, everyone knows there was a lot of help from the government. We did rely on the furlough scheme at times throughout. But I think because we were a site service company as well, it was very difficult because we couldn't just go completely remote. We
Yeah.
couldn't just suddenly start doing our inspections without being face to face with the client. But at the same time, because a lot of our clients work within power generation, so power stations, oil refineries, chemical plants, they were still operating.
Okay.
So we still had to. They were operating, but at reduced levels. So we had to stay open as a business. We couldn't just completely furlough everyone and sort of let's pick it up again in 8 months and see where we're at. We had to still stay open at a certain level. So that was difficult, trying to manage your costs through that time, because we still had to provide that service to our clients. So yeah, it was a very difficult time. Yeah.
So what percentage would you say the business dropped down activity wise during that time?
Oh, must be 50% at least. Wow. Turnover wise. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, even though, as you say, you service critical industry. So
yeah, but what a lot of our clients were doing is they weren't. So we'll have our day-to-day sort of maintenance inspections at businesses, but what a lot of these power stations, oil refineries, energy from waste plants, what they'll do is have big outages once or twice a year where they'll shut down the plant, maybe 2 to 4 weeks, and they'll completely overhaul some of their plant, and that's where we tend to be really busy. So a lot of NDT will be required. So we'll have these big influxes of work where we've got maybe 10 to 12 guys working for flat out for 2 to 4 weeks to try and get the overhaul turned around.
Yeah.
In time for them to turn back on. So what they were doing during COVID is basically pushing those outages and those shutdowns as far as they could to the limits. Because they'll have something set on them by maybe the HSE or something within their inspection scopes where it says, right, every 6 or 12 months you need to have these set of inspections done, which will cause them to shut down. Whether they were getting concessions from the HSE because of COVID, I don't know. Because you think there's a hell of a lot of people working within a small area when these shutdowns are on, and during COVID it was almost impossible to try and maintain social distancing when you've got 50 guys working inside a steam boiler.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, hopefully it's the end of it. What would you say your biggest learning's been as a business owner?
Biggest learning, I think biggest learning is probably that everything takes time. Everything takes time. Nothing happens overnight. So you might have an idea of how you want to improve the business, a new process, or things that you identify within the business that you need to change. But it's just not a magic switch that you can flick like that and then it's suddenly changed overnight. There's a process to it, and I think it can be frustrating sometimes because you might be having an issue with a certain thing which you've already identified needs changing, but you're having to have that same issue over the next 3 or 4 months while you're putting the steps in place to try and rectify that issue. I think especially when we were first starting out, that used to frustrate me quite a lot, that we couldn't just change things straight away. So I'd say that's probably something that I've learned over the years. Also, I'd say it's very easy to get bogged down with the day-to-day running of the business and the issues that come with running a business, because you always tend to just look at the issues and the problems you're having and the things that you need to change for the better. And sometimes that can make you have a slightly negative look on where you are as a business and what you're actually doing. So I think every so often it's very important to take a step back and try and have a look at a bit of a bird's eye view of where you started, where you are now, where you want to go. I think that's important as well.
Looking at that horizon and working on the business, absolutely.
Definitely, yeah.
Good. And sorry, I suppose looking ahead, what's your aspirations for the next 5 years?
So yeah, we've got quite big ambitions for the business over the next 5 to 10 years. I think what we've identified over the past 5 years is that although we're offering NDT services into the market, clients want different things from your business. They don't necessarily all want the same service, if that makes sense. So I think what we've identified is that potentially we have got to segment the market, and we have got to offer different things depending on if we're talking to one of our biggest clients is INEOS, who are a huge chemical company, fourth biggest in the world. INEOS want certain things out of their NDT company, so they put a massive emphasis on health and safety, as you should, as any business should. Quality has got to be absolutely on point. You've got to have systems and accreditations in the background, and you've got to have obviously management systems in place, and that all comes at a cost to your business as well. Whereas Joe Blogg's welding company on the corner of Factory Road, without being too disrespectful, probably isn't going to put as much emphasis on you making sure you have the right quality accreditations and things in place. You still want to go there and make sure the job you're doing is correct. But they do want different things from the NDT companies, and I think we've identified that. So what we're hoping to do actually over the next 5 to 10 years is make NDT Group into a holding company, so that it will be a group of companies working underneath the umbrella. And we're going to try and target different sectors with a more sort of individualized NDT specific need. We're also going to look to try and offer some more diverse capabilities depending on the market that we're looking at. So for instance, offshore wind is going to be massive in North Wales over the next 10 years or so. And we're going to look to see, instead of just offering NDT into that market, can we set up our own in-house rope access services? Can we look at painting and coating inspections as well? Can we even look at blade repair and start offering more than just NDT?
It's incredibly exciting. I suppose a related question to that is, as you grow and develop, is employment. So how do you first of all find the employment in the region?
So what we've put an emphasis on, and what we wanted to do from the very start, really, which sort of ties into the vision of the business of the organisation, is try and employ people from the local area at a young age, and try and bring them into the business from the age of even 16, and build them up ourselves, train them ourselves. We've done that quite successfully over the last few years. So I think we've got probably 6 or 7 now guys that we took on as apprentices or trainees, and we've trained up ourselves. We've just committed, we took on another 4 apprentices this year, and we tend to get them from Deeside College.
Okay.
Down the road. So we'll go to meet the employer events, and we'll also work with the college, and guys who are doing their NVQ level 3s over at the college need to go out and do 2 or 3 sets of work experience a year as part of their course. So we'll open our doors and we say to the college, you can send guys to us, and we'll take them through a week's work experience. And we've actually identified a couple of lads who've come to us, done work experience, and we've said, right, give us a call when you finish your course, and if we've got an opening, we'll potentially look at bringing you on as an apprentice. And that's what we want to try and do. We want to try and keep that pathway going for people in the area to come from the college and know that there is this world out there called NDT, which is quite a small niche industry not many people know about. But it's also a very exciting industry to work in. There's lots of places you can go, lots of things you can do. You can travel the world if you want, doing non-destructive testing. We want to give people that opportunity.
And is it a structured apprenticeship program that you're running, or?
It is. So what we do, we work with a company called Skills UK.
Okay.
And they structure the sort of formal side of the training. With regards to the theory side of it. So the guys will they'll have modules they've got to complete as they go along. Skills UK send out a trainer to the organisation, maybe once or twice a month, to sit with the guys and go through their modules and give them the theory training. And then on the other side of it, we'll give them the experience, the site experience. So they'll go out with our senior technicians and they'll learn hands on the job. And then it's Skills UK who dictate to us then when the technician is, or sorry, when the apprentice is ready to perhaps go to the training centre to actually sit the qualification and get qualified. So yeah, we work with Skills UK on that, and they've been brilliant, to be fair. I mean, again, because I started as an apprentice when I was 18, and there was nothing formal in NDT. There was no sort of apprenticeship on offering. It was very much right. You go and work with Ken, and Ken will show you how to do certain method, ultrasonics or radiography, and you'd just be learning off Ken. But the problem was you'd get all Ken's bad habits, and you wouldn't be learning the theory behind why you're doing the application. So yeah, Skills UK can't talk more highly about them. They're fantastic.
Really, really, really positive story. So well done. And you're retaining these young guys and girls.
Yeah, we are so far. So I mean, we realised that there's going to be certain guys who maybe once they get qualified, they're potentially going to want to go and start chasing the money and go contracting, maybe go and work on the oil rigs, or I mean, we just had a guy, Joe, leave us in February, which was sad to see him go, but at the same time, I think we got a good 4 years work out of Joe. He was a really good worker. You know, I think he'll be back one day. I think we've left the door open for him. I think he's one of these guys who maybe wants to see that contract in life and see what it's all about. But we realised that some people will want to move on eventually, and that's fine as long as we've got guys coming from behind. And it also comes down to the technicians themselves, and you know, I think majority of the guys, as long as we can offer them opportunities within our business, I think they'll stay. I think those opportunities are there. I mean, for instance, last year we had a project out in Baku, so we had 4 guys out to Azerbaijan to carry out an NDT project there. So I think the apprentices know that there is opportunities with us, that you know, potentially if they do want to travel a bit, they don't have to necessarily leave the organisation and go contracting. They might be able to travel a little bit with us as well.
Yeah, really good, really positive story. Would you say there's any other experiences you've had employing people?
With regards to
just any learnings that, you know, in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I think just learning how to manage people as well is probably quite a steep learning curve. I think that's probably one of the most difficult aspects about running a business, I'd say. But I think what I'd say on that is it's very clear to me now that how important communication is within an organisation from the top down, and it's something I definitely haven't got right over the years. And there's probably times where I've tried to lock myself away, or maybe not protect people, it's probably the wrong word, but maybe not share with people. You know, say I have got an aspiration or a goal for the business, I try and keep that to myself, because I don't want to tell anyone about that in case it doesn't come off and they think I'm full of it or whatever. But I think people want that communication. People want to know where the business is going. They want that vision communicated to them, and I think it's very important, and it's something I've realised over the past, probably even the past 6 months, probably even towards the back end of last year. There's probably times I wasn't communicating as effectively or as well as I should be, and that's part and parcel of learning, I suppose, and trying to grow as a leader. Because again, I've never had any formal training in it until about 18 months ago. I think I went and started an ILM leadership course, which was really good, to be fair. But unless you're taught about it, how are you supposed to know?
But you're learning by experience now.
Learning by experience.
It's a great lesson for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. But that'd be something that I wish I'd maybe learn a bit quicker. Yeah, definitely. And I'm not perfect at it now. It's still, you know, I'm still trying to I suppose, understand what do I need to communicate, because there's certain things you don't want to communicate to people because you just won't want to hear it anyway. But yeah, it's like you say, just learning all the time, aren't you?
Yeah.
So,
it's our whole philosophy of there's no best, there's only better. So just
yeah,
keep that philosophy going.
Yeah.
I suppose more reflection then, if you could look back and advise your 18-year-old self, what would you tell your 18-year-old self?
What would I tell my 18-year-old self? That's a tricky one, that, you know.
It's even trickier for me, Matthew.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know really. I don't think I'm quite. I don't tend to have many regrets and stuff. I'm one of these people who believes that things happen to you for a reason, and as long as you can take learnings from everything as you're going, then that's what life's about, I suppose. Life is about sort of stumbling along, I think, until and trying to just pick little bits from here. Or if I did that again, I'd probably do this differently, and trying to pick up those little learning points and bring them forward with you to the next mistake you'll make, because there's definitely another mistake that you'll make around the corner. So yeah, there's not really anything I'd say to my 18-year-old self apart from go and enjoy it, I suppose, and
enjoy it, enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey, yeah. Maybe try not to drink too as much as you have done over the past few years, and good stuff.
Matthew, that's incredibly insightful. Some brilliant learnings there. Love absolutely what you do with the apprentices. You should be very proud of that. Excellent.
Yeah, I think we are, to be fair. I think it's the one thing that we like to, we are proud of our local area. I think it helps that myself and Dan are obviously, I spoke at the beginning about going to John Summers, and there's a little joke about, because John Summers always had a bit of a bad rep in the area, but we love the fact that we went to John Summers, and quite a number of people within the organisation here who went to John Summers as well. But I had that opportunity when I was 18 to try and get into NDT, and that's what we want to try and do now for these local lads and lasses coming through the area.
Super. Well, thanks for your time this afternoon, Matthew. That's
absolutely. I enjoyed that, Mark. Cheers. Thanks. It was nice to speak to you.
Thank you.